Reality in VR. The pros and cons of realistic graphics. Virtual reality has come a long way since its inception, and one of the most significant improvements. It's the level of realism that can be achieved through graphics. With the latest VR technology, users can immerse themselves in virtual worlds that look and feel just like the real thing. But is this level of realism always a good thing? In this video, we'll explore the pros and cons of realistic graphics in virtual reality, and also take a look at what the Bible has to say about our perception of reality. The pros of realistic graphics. One of the most significant advantages of realistic graphics in VR is the level of immersion that can be achieved. With the graphics that look and feel like the real world, users can feel they are truly present in a virtual environment. This level of immersion can be incredibly powerful, allowing users to experience things that would be difficult or impossible in the real world. For example, users explore distant planets, swim with whales, or even fly like a bird. Another advantage of realistic graphics in VR is the potential for education and training. By creating virtual environments that simulate real-world scenarios, users can learn and practice new skills in a safe and controlled environment. For example, surgeons can practice complex procedures, pilots can practice emergency scenarios, and soldiers can train for combat situations. The cons of realistic graphics. While there are many advantages to realistic graphics in VR, there are also some potential drawbacks. One of the most significant concerns is the potential for addiction and escapism. With the graphics that look and feel like the real world, users can become so immersed in virtual environments that they lose touch with reality. This can lead to a range of negative consequences, including social isolation, depression, and anxiety. Another concern is the potential for desensitization to the real world, violence, and suffering. With realistic graphics, users can experience violent or traumatic situations that may desensitize them to real-world impact of these events. This can lead to a lack of empathy and a decreased sense of responsibility for the suffering of others. For example, this game created in Unreal has fooled so many people when the gameplay was shown for the very first time, to the point where people thought that this gameplay wasn't actually gameplay footage from a game, but they actually thought it was a POV footage in real life, kind of like a GoPro, with someone actually kind of acting out this scenario. But it wasn't. It was an actual game. If it was able to fool people watching it as a video, just imagine in VR. If a VR game, or any game in general in VR, gets more real like this gameplay footage, more people will end up getting confused with reality in VR, to the point where they won't know what is reality. They would start to think to themselves, did I really remove my headset, or am I still playing the game? So, what does the Bible say about this? The Bible has a lot to say about our perception of reality and the impact of technology on our lives. One verse that particularly relevant is Proverbs 4:23, which says, "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." This verse reminds us that we need to be careful about what we allow into our hearts and minds, as it can have a significant impact on our actions and attitudes. Another verse that is relevant is Philippians 4:8, which says, "Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, and whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. This verse encourages us to focus on things that are good and true, rather than getting lost in a fantasy and escapism. Conclusion. In conclusion, realistic graphics in VR have both advantages and disadvantages. While they can provide incredible experience and educational opportunities, they can also lead to addiction, desensitization, and disconnection from reality. As we continue to develop and use VR technology, it is essential to guard our hearts and minds and focus on what is true and good. As we consider the impact of technology on our lives, it is crucial to remember the hope and peace that we can find in Jesus Christ. In John 14:27, Jesus says, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled and do not be afraid." As we strive to guard our hearts and minds and focus on what is good and true, we can find comfort and strength in the love of Jesus. And of course, as always, Jesus Christ loves you, and I hope you have a blessed day. Stay blessed.